Hello, and welcome to the Narrowing Path, Walking the Spiritual Walk. My name is Steve Van Einstein. Thank you all for joining me tonight as we do today's daily reading from James Allen's Daily Meditations. We're starting a new month here, November 1st. And let me tell you, October finished really, really strong. Absolutely loved yesterday's reading. The whole month of October was just incredible, filled with a lot of great readings. And so if you get some time, you want to kill some time, pick any day from October. Go take a listen to it. I promise you won't be disappointed. So this will November 1st, of course, will be fresh to you and fresh to me, meaning that you'll get my genuine response, reactions, observations, and what I relate to about the reading. As this will be the first time that I hear it or read it right here on this podcast with y'all. So let's go right to it and see how they kick off November. Wonder if they're As always, I wonder if they're going to continue on with the messages they've been providing or if they're going to change it up a little bit. So here we go. This is November 1st of James Allen's Daily Meditations. The wise man is always anxious to learn, but never anxious to teach. All strength and wisdom and power and knowledge a man will find within himself, but he will not find it in egotism. He will only find it in obedience, submission, and willingness to learn. He must obey the higher, not glorify himself in the lower. He who stands upon egotism, rejecting reproof, instruction, and the lessons of experience, will surely fall. Yeah, he is already fallen. Said a great teacher to his disciples, those who shall be a lamp unto themselves rely upon themselves only, but not relying on any external help, but seeking their salvation in the truth alone, shall not look for assistance to any besides themselves. It is they among my disciples who shall reach the very topmost height, but they must be willing to learn. The true teacher is in the heart of every man. Well, well, this is different. Now, the overarching theme of being teachable, to grow, and to be submitting to the truth of the world and nature, or truth of the creator and source, or spiritual truths, as I call them often, to remain teachable to those, submit to those, is a common lesson. And I believe in it. Humility is born through honest appraisal and understanding. Honesty is the doorway to actual humility. It was just interesting. I guess I'm caught off guard by the last half of the body of the reading, talking about being a lamp unto yourself. So I'm going to be interested to reread that part again when we get there. So let's start at the beginning, though. The wise man is always anxious to learn, but never anxious to teach. And when we say anxious here, we're talking about desiring almost, or wanting to grow and understand, to absorb that knowledge, to grow in our spiritual understanding and application. The wise man is always anxious to learn, but never anxious to teach. That doesn't mean they won't teach. This ends with the true teacher is in the heart of every man, right? So there's a teacher in all of us. If we would just but listen. I know that's kind of going more so into the listen to the divine truths, right? But everybody willing to learn will be able to teach. All strength and wisdom, and power and knowledge a man will find within himself, but he will not find it in egotism. That false front, there's so many that use that as a shield, use that as a line of defense to prop up this image that they'd like to maintain and present and be, because they have to have this false front because they don't believe they actually are that. The funniest thing is, if they would actually be honest about where they were and what they were doing, they would grow into the confidence they wish to exude. Now, how do I know that? That was my exact experience. And I mean, I'm still growing, I'm still learning, and I'm still broadening my depth and understanding. But that false bravado and that false front that I used to display to the world just so I could feel like I could manage the world well and trick the world into thinking that I was somebody when I thought I was nothing. I found much more strength and steadfastness in this way of life and courage. All the things I wanted to be perceived as having, though I didn't have them. And now they've grown naturally by just living right. What a concept. So, the strength, wisdom, and power and knowledge that I always wanted to have and present that I had, I found within myself. I found it by pursuing the understanding of spiritual living. Thank God for that. Said it will not find it in egotism. He will only find it in obedience, submission, and willingness to learn. That's the truth. We have to understand we're not in charge of anything. We have to understand we're not the most powerful thing in the world. And we have to understand there's things to learn. There will always be things to learn, understandings to grasp, and perspectives to take. That's where we find those qualities we search for. He must obey the higher and not glorify himself in the lower. So don't present as this know it all. Don't try to be this grandiose individual in a world of material. We must obey the higher and not glorify ourselves. We can't martyr ourselves. We can't do these things that so many do just to feed our ego and pride. We must obey the higher and not glorify himself in the lower. The lower is this material world that we live in, that we participate in. He who stands upon egotism, rejecting reproof, instruction, and the lessons of experience will surely fall. Yea, he has already fallen. All people based on that egotism, based on that false sense of self-importance, overinflated ego, will always fall. Those who are not willing to learn and grow will always fall. Those who reject reproof, so which is questioning, instruction, and lessons of experience will surely fall. I've seen it happen, and I know it will continue to happen, especially in today's day and age. There's so many that are just riding the ego train. will unfortunately not serve them for long. Said a great teacher to his disciples. Okay, this is the part that I was interested to reread. Said a great teacher to his disciples, those who shall be a lamp unto themselves, relying upon themselves only, and not relying upon any external help, but seeking their salvation in the truth alone, shall not look for assistance to any beside themselves. It is they among my disciples who shall reach the very topmost height, but they must be willing to learn. Maybe it's talking about that self motivation, that drive to understand and grow spiritually, to not rely on someone else to save them, but to pursue these spiritual truths and these understandings for themselves, to go and find them, to find understanding and peace with them, but seeking their salvation in the truth alone. So being a constant pursuit of truth, to grow and illuminate the pathway to truth as well. Because as it said previously, it's an inward journey. No one can walk it for us. We can't ask someone else to walk it for us. We need to take these steps for our own personal growth, for our own personal understandings. That's what we're talking about here. So, which makes much more sense in that context and perspective. We must drive ourselves forward towards these truths, and then that you'll be brought to align with that source and power, creator, God, whatever you may want to call it, or him, or them. The pursuit of truth will bring you in alignment with that God of your understanding, whatever that looks like, power greater than yourself. And remember, this part's italicized, the last line of it, but they must be willing to learn. Then ends with this: the true teacher is in the heart of every man. So it's always inside. This is always an inside game with outside help. This is a development of self knowledge, knowledge about the universe, knowledge about this spiritual world, how to function and live well in this world, right? And the guide to do that is always within us. Always. I have seen it enough times to know that this statement is true. And it's also been my own personal experience. So, all right. Well, there we go. That was November 1st, guys. Thank y'all for joining me. That's a, it was a, give you some good framework of where you should be going to and how you should be getting there. So n- I like the way November started off. That's for sure. So we'll see how it plays out though. So here we go. This will be the 11th month of this year. And let me tell you, it's been going by quick. I can't believe we're in the 300 episodes already for this year, too. So, but thank y'all for joining me as always. And until next time, bye.